one of the more interesting stories that we've been following this season in the NFL has been Doug Pederson, the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, fired yesterday. And fired because they were a hot mess. Although most people are going to tell you that Doug Pederson was fired because of what he did with Jalen Hurts and Nate Sudfeld. I would tell you, and if you go back and listen to our shows over this season, I would tell you he should have been fired because they were not very good. And I think one of the main signs of dysfunctional football teams is regression at the quarterback position, because so much money is spent by NFL teams to develop their quarterbacks. And when you have dysfunction at that position and you have quarterbacks backsliding, and look throughout the NFL, right?
Yep.
If you look at my R&We, the Chicago Bears, Mitch Trubisky's backslid. That's because they're dysfunctional. Matt Nagy's not a good head coach.
And the whole organization has backslid since that playoff appearance.
Yeah, not a good head coach, right? Not an elite head coach. Awesome play caller sometimes, unless he's a head coach. Awesome offensive coordinator, not a good head coach.
Yeah.
Mitch Trubisky backslid. No better example of that than Carson Wentz in Philadelphia. And Doug Pederson paid for that yesterday with his job. I think Carson Wentz is the overarching reason he lost the job. But I do think that Nate Sudfeld situation, you can't tell me that played no role in firing Doug Pederson.
I think it was the final nail in the coffin. I think there was a build up to it. I think when you have Super Bowl appearances and you win Super Bowls and you do all these great things, and Carson Wentz is having an MVP caliber season, and then he gets hurt, and then he's never the same, and you just have all this dysfunction. Because the truth of the matter is, you put your heart and soul into Carson Wentz being your guy. He was a hell of a quarterback before he got hurt, and so then he gets hurt, and you're never the same team. The belief in the players is not there because they're playing with a backup quarterback. Doug Pederson's trying to figure out, how he's going to rerun the Philly special or something like it to make something happen, and it never happens. And so the truth of the matter is, once Carson Wentz got hurt, his job was done. I mean, everything after that injury took him to, look, we got to move on. And they're in a place now, much like the Bears and other organizations, where you need a new head coach. You likely need a new quarterback for one reason or the other, and that's just where you are. And it's unfortunate, but it's true.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see which of these openings is most in demand. Because I actually don't think the Philadelphia Eagle job is a good job. And I look at things like, I look at the Houston Texans. I look at the New York Jets. I look at jobs that are open in the NFL. And I'm like, I still maintain that the not San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers who play in the Rams Stadium is the best job in the NFL right now.
Yeah, it's a good job.
That's available.
But the ownership,
it's terrible. The Spanos family is terrible.
If you're a head coaching candidate and you're talking about moving your family and basically uprooting your life to go and take that job, are you not at least a bit concerned that you won't make it even 5 years? Under that ownership group? I mean, because when you take a head coaching position, I mean, I would think it's your goal to at least make it 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the greats make it, again, it might be a little unfair to compare people to like Bill Belichick or another coach who's made it a decade, but those coaches who make it a decade, they are there for a reason, whether ownership likes them or not.
Yeah. I look at the jobs that are open. I don't know. What's a better gig, the Atlanta Falcons or the Philadelphia Eagles? I mean, I think,
would say the Falcons, but...
Yeah, I think you have an owner in Atlanta, in Arthur Blank, who loves to spend his money, right? I mean, the guy loves to spend that cheddar. Now, does he spend it wisely? Probably not, right? But they have a beautiful stadium. You have stability at the quarterback position if you want it in Matt Ryan. And I think you have... you have guys like Calvin Ridley. I mean, you have talent on that roster, and it'll be interesting to see what plays out.
Little guy Julio.
Yeah, Julio. Well, but see, again, I go back to Julio Jones, and I think he's been a huge disappointment, mainly because he can't stay on the field.
But why can't he stay on the field?
Because he's always hurt.
Because he's always double teamed, and because he's the only guy that anyone has to care about on that team.
Yeah, but Calvin Johnson was on the field all the time, and that guy was triple teamed. I think health in the NFL is want to and genetics. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you just don't have the genetics to stay healthy. And I think Julio's one of those guys who is always battling his body.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. Does he not do what LeBron James does? Does he not put millions of dollars into his body? I have no idea.
Well, I know that's obviously a fact that not every athlete puts millions into their body, but I don't know if he does or not.
Yeah. It'll be Matt Ryan's 36. I think there could be some change there. Detroit Lions or the Philadelphia Eagles? Well, I'm going to take the Eagles over the Lions job.
I'm not. Yeah, the Lions job is wholly unattractive.
I mean, they again, I think you have a way overpaid quarterback in Matthew Stafford who hasn't proven anything.
Yeah.
I think this goes all the way back to Barry Sanders retiring just out of the blue because he didn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's who the Detroit Lions are, sadly, and I actually think the Lions are the worst job in the NFL.
It's nothing to play for. Like
you're not talented.
Yeah, what are you gonna do there? You know, I mean, it's not like the ownership group has gone out of their way to say, hey, yeah, we're gonna hire a guy, and then boy, oh boy, we're getting that war chest out, and we're gonna sign a bunch of people.
Well, and then it comes to the job that I know you want, which is the Houston Texans job.
Yeah.
Right? Like, is the Houston Texans job more attractive than the Philadelphia Eagles job? You have an incompetent owner in Cal McNair.
Yeah.
Right? Who, in my opinion, is just not great. You now have a situation where you hired Nick Caserio to be your general manager, which pissed off your franchise quarterback, who says that you didn't go through the proper due diligence of interviewing different candidates and candidates of color. And like Deshaun Watson is legitimately pissed off.
Yeah, he's pissed.
And he has told people he's open to being traded
to the Miami Dolphins.
Well, fuck, if you're the Bears, go get him.
Yeah.
I'm being, you passed on him once.
I would go and get him.
Right? Ryan Pace, save your job and make a trade. Go get Deshaun Watson. Right? Unfortunately, Bill O'Brien's not there anymore. You could trade a Mitch Trubisky for anyway, I'll stop. I think, and I could be wrong, I think the Eagle job is better than the Texans job. You're a recent Super Bowl champion in Philly.
The only thing that I would say the Texans job has over the Philly job, because I would say that they're both highly dysfunctional as organizations, is Deshaun Watson. And if you can get that job and you can keep Deshaun and you can keep Watt, and you can
you're not keeping J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt's leaving. I mean, he's 32. He's often injured. They were one of the worst teams against the run this year.
He hasn't won.
And by the way, they don't have a first or second round pick. Remember that. I mean, you are in a deep, deep hole in Houston. And I don't know who winds up being the head coach there. But if I am the Houston Texans, I love Deshaun. I trade him and restock my draft this year.
Probably.
And he wants out. Okay, cool. Here.
Man, if I'm the Bears, I go all over that, dude.
Just give me what I got. Give me what I got, and you can give me Deshaun Watson. Here's I would, honestly.
Make it happen.
That's the energy that Chicago Bear team needs. I don't know if Deshaun would play in cold weather Chicago. I have no idea.
I think he would.
Well, look where he went to college. Did he go to college? No, he went to Clemson.
Yeah.
Like, the guy's always been a warm weather quarterback. Talking about going to the Miami Dolphins. It doesn't snow in Miami, at least not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that it snowed in Madrid, Spain?
God,
that was
really?
crazy. Oh, yeah. Anyway, the point is, I think the Eagle job is better than the Houston job. I just think that the thing that stands out to me about the Eagles job is you have a recent Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you have some talent there. You have an owner who, and I hesitate to say likes to win, because I don't know what the hell they were doing this year.
He likes to burn it to the ground.
Yeah, but you have an owner in Jeffrey Lurie who seemingly wants to do what it takes to win. Newer stadium, 18 young quarterbacks. You have a passionate fan base, but you never win.
Yeah.
And then you ran the Philly special and won the Super Bowl.
I mean, there's clearly something to play for in Philly. I mean, clearly. I mean, with all those things that you just listed off, again, winning a Super Bowl in Philly, there are a few markets that are more glorious to win a Super Bowl in than Philly. It's a great town, but I think, I think all these situations with any organization we're talking about here, all are basically predicated on the relationship that the head coach, the GM, and the owner have as a group.
Well, and I think when you look at the GM situation in Philly with Roseman,
yeah,
I mean, they're going to have to cut how much?
A ton, dude.
30, 40 million,
Yeah.
50 million from the cap. I mean,
You're going to be bad.
You can't release Carson Wentz because you owe him $60 million at that point. That's a $60 million cap hit.
Yeah, you're not doing that.
He's a fifth-year guy coming off the worst season of his career. You're screwed.
Yeah, I mean, you're
in
going
Philly.
to be bad for a couple seasons. But I think if you were going to take that job, you got to take that job with that understanding.
Yeah.
And you, the GM and the owner, got to be on the same page about that. And then there's got to be a plan to get better.
The Jet job or the Philly job?
Philly job.
Well, the Jets have $71 million in cap space.
Yeah, well, the Jets' ownership is awful.
Yeah, the Johnson family hasn't historically been very good at winning football games.
When's the last time they did anything relevant?
It's been forever.
Darrelle Revis, when he was on the defense? Is that when they were
And
good?
that ended in disaster. And he wound up playing for the Patriots.
Dude, it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I just don't know what you do how do you take the Philly job instead of the Jet job when the Jets have the second most cap space behind Jacksonville and the number 2 pick in the draft?
Because it's not all about the money. Yes, the money plays a big role in winning. Of course it does. But I guess the thing for me, if I was looking at these jobs and I was a candidate that was in demand, that I knew I could get any of these jobs that I really wanted to, that I went after. Yeah, the money is important, but I think what's more important is job security, right? You don't want to take a job and then be let go by the Cardinals 1 year after you took the job, right? You don't want to go somewhere and then lose your ass after the first season because the team was bad and everything was horrible, right? So you want to go somewhere where it's okay if you're bad, but it's not okay if you're bad and then the GM's like, it's your fault we're bad, and the owner's like, we're firing you.
And the thing that should bring pause to anybody looking at the Jet job, they hired Adam Gase.
Yeah.
After a terrible run in Miami, they hired Adam Gase, and now they fired Adam Gase.
Mm-hmm.
And Christopher Johnson, and those of you who don't know ownership in the Jets, you probably don't give a damn about this, but Woody Johnson is the ambassador to the UK. So his brother Christopher's been running the team, who immediately hired Adam Gase. But the thing that should really worry you is the same thing that should really empower you. There's no holds barred on this roster. Yeah. You're in a situation with your quarterback in Sam Darnold that you can say, okay, you're at his 5th-year option. Are we going to pick that up? Well, I would guess at this point you wouldn't, right? Because he has been wildly inconsistent. So why would you invest long-term in Sam Darnold? You wouldn't. My point is you got $70 million, the number 2 pick, and you're not married to the quarterback that you have.
Yeah.
I think it's a better job than Philly. I just think it is one of those things where you have the opportunity to really grow yourself.
You do.
But are the Jets going to do what it takes to win? That's a question that I don't know the answer to. Now, having said that, and I hate to say this, I think the Spanos family in San Diego, who play in Los Angeles in a debt consolidation stadium known as SoFi, I actually think that the Charger job is the second best job open in the NFL. And I say that because you have a great young quarterback.
Yeah.
They've drafted well. They seem to have direction.
Yeah.
Right? They seem to really want to win. So I guess my question is, how worried about the Spanos family are you?
Well, I would be worried about it. Certainly, I'd be really worried about it. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably be like a 6 or a 7. I want to understand where the Spanos family is at with this hire. Like, if I was going into an interview, one of the main questions I would have for the Spanos family is, hey, I'd literally say to them, like, hey, I love this opportunity. I want to be here, but I want to make sure that if I'm here, we're, not doing a one and done. We're not doing any of that, because that's when I think of the Spanos, I think of the word volatile. You made a volatile decision to move the team.
Volatile or emotional? Because
I would
argue their departure from whale's vagina was really thank you. The drop machine. Oh my God, the drop machine works.
It works.
Wow,
it works.
I would argue that their departure from San Diego was fueled by emotion.
Right.
And I would argue that they probably regret that. But here's what I wouldn't argue: they've actually done a good job on the field. The biggest issue with that team has been close games and clock management. Mm-hmm. You can fix that. right? Think about all the young talent they have, right? Like if you think about Keenan Allen,
Yeah.
Derwin James, Mike Williams,
They
Austin
are a
Eckler.
good team.
Again, I think obviously the quarterback position there with Justin Herbert is solidified. Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
Think about Joey Bosa, stud defense. Like, there's everything you want as a head football coach.
Listen, they could have been a playoff team this year. If
Should've.
they had better coaching and won the close games, they had the opportunity to be a postseason team.
16 of the Chargers' 20 losses over the past 2 years have been by a margin of 1 score or less.
That's what I'm saying. They're not out of these games.
That's my point. With all due respect to Coach Lynn, I think a better coach, and they're in the playoffs this year. And I think they are a terrifying team in a wild card round.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You know, like I think that, and you know who they really are right now? They're the Buffalo Bills from last year.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to run into them this coming season. They're going to have a new head coach. I think, bro, I think it is the number one job. I would put the Jags job number 2 and the Jet job number 3. And I know that's crazy to say that.
Yeah, I mean, Jets or Eagles, I mean, they're right next to each other. But yeah, I would agree with that order. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, you're going to wind up with Trevor Lawrence, right? You have a ton, I mean, a butthole full of cap space, like 70, I think it's $75 million in cap space.
Yeah.
God damn! That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You're going to solve your quarterback position, well, you hope. You're going to solve your quarterback position. You're going to solve your lack of talent.
Yep.
You're going to hopefully hire the right head coach. You know, like I
You're
just
in a good position. You are. Like, yeah, it's a great job.
You can't go Doug Marrone, though. Please don't go hire Schleppy from the Technical Institute. Right?
Schleppy.
Yeah. What do you look if you're an NFL coaching candidate? What are you looking for?
I'm looking for stability is going to be the number one thing. Like being on the same page as far as what what the GM and the ownership want. And then I'm looking at I am looking at cap space and I'm looking at the roster situation. And I'm putting a plan together. And so yeah, when we talk about the Chargers already being in a good spot and essentially ready to win, that's attractive. I then look at, other positions and who don't have a great roster but do have cap space and flexibility. Cool, that's attractive too. We can go and make something out of that. But then you look at the Texans and you're like, well, there's a lot of dysfunction there. We're going to have to lose for a couple of seasons because we got to shed payroll and get back into the right place. That's probably not as attractive. So I guess to answer the question directly, I want stability for several years. I want either a good roster or I want the ability to make a good roster with cap space. And I want to be able to do my own thing. And that's what I'd be looking for.
Yeah, it's interesting. Chuck says this is why the Jags should hire Urban Meyer to be their head coach, because he's a guy you don't have to worry about winning football games. You pound him for everything off the field, but you've never criticized him for the way he wins games.
Yeah, I mean, he's a winner. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, he's totally a winner. And I think the only question people have about it is, can he continue to be a winner at the NFL level? Because at the college level, you can control guys because you have leverage over them and their ability to get to the league.
Yeah.
But once you're in the league, that leverage goes away, and now you're just coaching grown-ass men.
Yeah, I think if you are the Jacksonville Jaguars, you're going with an offensive guy, right? Like, yeah. I think Eric Bieniemy should be the top candidate in pretty much any open job. I think in Jacksonville, it's Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer or Eric Bieniemy. I look at the LA Chargers. I ask myself, why are you not all in on Urban Meyer? Like, Urban Meyer's a guy that I would hire right now in the NFL for just about any opening. I mean, I think if you want to win, and if the LA Chargers hire Urban Meyer, are they a better football team?
Yes, they're a better football team, but I'm just telling you, and maybe I'm biased, and I'm open to that idea.
No.
But, dude, if something happens off the field on your team while he's your head coach and he's in it the way he was in it at Ohio State, there should be hell to pay for that because you knew what you were getting yourself into.
Yeah, if I'm the Jets, I hire Eric Bieniemy. I think if I am the Houston Texans,
Hello.
who are they? Are they a figure skating team? The Houston Texans. What?
A figure skating team.
Yeah, I probably try to hire Brian Dable or Robert Saleh from San Francisco.
How long has Salah been trying to be a head coach?
78 years.
Jesus.
But he's a brilliant defensive mind. I don't know if he's a head coach or not. See, and what I want my next head coach of the Texans, I want a brilliant offensive guy. But man, they're really talented. Yeah, I could see it both ways. Salah is a guy that I think could be a great coach in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to be able to even cut the bridge of his nose, no matter how hard you headbutt him in the face.
Right.
He's a
tough guy.
badass.
Yeah.
But a guy like Eric Bieniemy, I think, quells your thirst if you are, Deshaun Watson. That gives you an offensive guy. He's a minority candidate, which is very important to Deshaun. I think Bieniemy, beyond the fact he's an excellent football coach, is the perfect fit for the most important player in your locker room, and that's Deshaun Watson.
I agree.
So, and look, Joe Brady's a good candidate, and Brian Dable's a good candidate. I think Urban Meyer should be your first phone call just about everywhere in the NFL.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I have no dispute that the guy wins football games. Zero dispute. I mean, he's a hell of a football coach. I just have major off-the-field concerns about it.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know that I could. How do you say to, let's use the Chargers as an example. How do you say to Herbert, hey, yeah, we're bringing this guy in. We're bringing Urban in. Everything's going to be great. He's a great leader of men. Oh, wait, but he's not at Ohio State. Oh, wait, he's not at Florida. Like, how do you send that message without looking like an idiot, How do you say, to the press, this is some great hire, and then, 18 months in the middle of week 6, it turns out that there's domestic violence happening in the program or the team. Like, that's what I worry about, I feel like it's a great hire from a winning football games perspective, but what happens if you win for one season, then something so bad off the field happens, you got to let them go. I mean, that's what I worry about, the long-term stability.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Make sure you smash that subscribe button right now. Right here on YouTube, just search The Monty Show. Monty, The Monty Show on YouTube, and hit subscribe. It really helps us grow the channel, and we appreciate that.